In this lesson, you will learn about ratios. Ratios compare two quantities. The best way to illustrate a ratio is by an example. So in this example, we have a test of 20 questions where 15 were answered correct, 3 were answered incorrect, and 2 were left blank. So the first question states, what is the ratio of the number of correct questions to the total number of test questions? So when you answer a ratio, you want to state the number that's to the left of the word to first. So the number of correct questions is 15. The total number of questions is 20. So a ratio is a fraction, and 15 over 20 is one way to express the ratio. But if I write this ratio in lowest terms, I'm going to divide both of the numbers by 5 so that I get an answer of 3 over 4. So 3 over 4, or 3 to 4, or 3 to 4 using the colon as a symbol, are three different ways to express a ratio. The next question, what is the ratio of the number of correct questions, and then I get to the word to, the number of incorrect questions? So the number of correct questions was 15, and the number of incorrect questions is 3. To reduce this ratio, I would divide both of the numbers by 3. And in simplest form, the ratio is 5 over 1. So this would mean that for every 5 questions you answer correctly, 1 question is answered incorrectly. So 5 over 1, or 5 to 1, or 5 to 1 using the colon as a symbol, are three different ways to express the ratio. So in the first example, we're asked to write the ratios in order from least to greatest. And there's a few ways that you could do this. 4 to 5, I will write as 4 over 5. 1 to 2, I will write as 1 over 2. And then 8 to 12 as 8 over 12. And then 3/4 I'll leave as 3/4. So one way I could do this is I could get a least common denominator for all of these fractions. The other way, which you might find a little bit simpler, is to convert all of these fractions to decimals. So if I start with 4/5, I'm going to divide 5 into 4, add a 0, and place my decimal point. 5 goes into 40 8 times. So 4/5 is equal to 0.8. 1/2, this one you should know, is equal to 0.5. For 8/12, we could start by dividing both the numerator and denominator by 4. This way it's in simplest form before we go through the long division. And when we take 2/3 and convert it into a decimal, we'll get a repeating decimal. We get a remainder of 2. So when I bring down another 0, I'm just back at the number 20. So I can write this as 0.6 repeating. And then 3/4, you should know that this decimal is 0.75. If not, just carry out the long division. So when I write the decimals from least to greatest, I have 0.5, 0.6 repeating, 0.75, and then 0.8. And the 0.5 was 1 to 2, The 0.6 repeating was 8 to 12. The 0.75 was 3/4. And then 0.8 was 4 to 5. For number 2, out of 520 seniors, 360 are girls. What is the ratio of girls to boys? So I'm going to take my 520 seniors and I'm going to split them up into two categories. 360 girls, and to find the number of boys on the side, I'm just going to take 520 minus 360 and subtract. So I get 160 boys. So they were asking for the ratio of girls to boys. So I want girls over boys, and my number of girls are 360, boys 160. And before I reduce this fraction, I'm going to start by canceling the zeros to get 36 over 16. So when reducing this fraction, you could write the prime factorization of 36 and 16, but for this example, I'm just going to divide both numbers by 4 so that the fraction in simplest form is equal to 9 over 4. And one thing I'd like to mention is that we had three fractions in this example. We had 360 over 160, then we canceled the zeros and wrote 36 out of 16, and then reduced that fraction to 9 over 4. All of these fractions here represent equivalent ratios. So to write this answer, we can write 9 over 4, 9 to 4, or 9 to 4 using the colon as a symbol. For number 3, a car travels 50 miles in 2 hours. What is the speed of the car in miles per hour? This word per is really in place of the word to. So we have miles first, hours second. So miles over hour, and if I look back at the first sentence, we had 50 miles and 2 hours. So I take 50 over 2, divide both numbers by 2 to get this fraction in simplest form, and I end up with 25 over 1. So 25 over 1, or 25 to 1, and then another 25 to 1 using the symbol, are three ways to express the ratio, but when they ask for the speed of the car in miles per hour, we can just write that as 25, and you can write out miles per hour or just use MPH as the abbreviation. For number 4, 4 people go out to lunch and the bill totals $26.20. What is the cost per person? So we want cost over person or people, and cost is the amount, $26.20, and the number of people is 4. And if I take 4 and divide it into 26.20, I get $6.55 over 1. So to write my answer, I would say $6.55 per person. And the last example, number 5, we're asked to find the unit rate. And when you're finding the unit rate, you always want to turn the denominator into the number 1, even if the denominator does not divide out evenly. So you want to divide both the numerator and denominator by 3, because you're trying to find out how much it costs for one serving. Always turn the denominator into 1 when you're finding a unit rate. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. And for 1383 divided by 3, I'll show that work underneath. So we end up with 461. So the unit rate is $4.61 per serving.